方的。
Alright, so in this one, we are going to be discussing Ultras. We have had Ultras in the game for just under a year now with the Sunnable Ultras, and that's the ones we're really going to touch on here. Obviously, the free-to-play ones have come out quite a ways prior to, but then they stopped doing free-to-plays. They'll eventually do them again, but for now, we're just on Sunnables, because these are the relevant ones, the important ones, and all of those things, right? Are Ultras worth it? I mean, really, like, think to yourself. Don't just say, well, yeah, Broly's pretty good right now. Yeah, Gogeta lasted pretty well. Like, why wouldn't they be worth it? I just want to touch on each Ultra individually and then go through them, and even more so. I'll do this, like, as we progress through the days here, but I think every single Ultra needs a plat equip. Every single one. These units, while they age well, I don't think their individual value compared to their banner these units are on are wholeheartedly worth it. And I won't, stress too much on the banners. I do think they are an important role to where you should summon or not for a character, because if the banner is really bad, the unit's the only, like, great thing, probably not worth it. Like, Beast Gohan's banner. You had Beast Gohan, you had Puddle, you had Cell, you had Revival Gohan, you had Pan, you have Piccolo. That's 6 really good units. The 4's banner. You have Jiren, who's pretty solid at high stars. You have Bardock, who's pretty solid at high stars. You have MUI, pretty solid at high stars. You have the 4's, you have 17. You probably have more stuff. Even the EXs aren't that bad that are on the banner. Like, you got good stuff. You got, like, at least 5 things worth summoning for. Then you look at Ultra banners, and I'm pulling up Gogeta's banner on the side here, and I'm really looking at this, and it's like, dude, what in tarnation? Gogeta's initial release, which was, essentially a month from where we are now, was Ultra Gogeta, CMZ, G4, Omen, and then Gogeta Blue. Nobody on that is relevant, and I could just pull up all these Ultras and really just see if the Ultra banner is not worth it, if that Ultra itself doesn't age amazing, and you can't predict the aging of Ultras, you can't predict the aging of any unit. You could definitely assume and kind of go through the process of seeing past units, and if they have similar kits, assume a process, but you can't tell what's going to get buffed or, nerfed in the next update. You can't tell, because if I pull up Kaioken here, and I look at him, his baseline kit, he has everything Gogeta has. Honestly, just a lot more safety nets with the Vanishes back, right? But then I pull up his banner, and I pull up how this unit actually did in PvP, and the differential is just kind of crazy, because I'm looking at Kaioken's banner, it's Kaioken, Evo, Rose, Gogeta Blue, and then Super Saiyan Blue, Green Vegeta. These banners are so mediocre. Evo's ass. Rose is okay now, but he wasn't okay on Kaioken's release when it was in, I think it was like May or something, right? Gogeta Blue, still terrible. Then Green Vegeta, I'm pretty sure he had just recently Zenkai'd, so that was like a pity purchase to really throw him on that banner there. Now I'll touch on individual units here, because I will touch on more of the banners on the other two as well, but individual units. Now, we'll go through each unit individually from their first release. So, the first one to the last one, right? So, Gogeta. How good is Ultra Gogeta? I would say Ultra Gogeta is a very good unit. He is the best aging Ultra. I have this firm belief that I really cannot be dispelled as, proven wrong at this point, because every Ultra has more flaws than Gogeta, and I'm just like, this seems more and more accurate as I say it, that this unit was the baseline Ultra, and what I mean by that is they made every Ultra afterwards of this unit, and yes, that's common sense, but what I mean even more so is that they designed his kit to be the best of all the Ultras, and then everything after this Ultra has to have more flaws than Gogeta. Nothing will have less flaws than Ultra Gogeta, because you look at him. How can you make a situation where neutral and then lock-in is really a flaw for a character? That is the best thing, that is the most amazing aging thing you could have on a unit, not cut, not damage, not cancel buffs, not literally nothing else. It is locking in and it is neutral. That is the only two good aging things. Maybe Cover and All, but he even gets Cover and All on green card, right? More consistent than other units, by the way. Every other unit that's an Ultra here gets inconsistent Cover and All, while he has consistent Cover and All. Like, very much more consistent, actually. All these aging things that usually are for very good units in the long term of their experience of PvP, he has. So you kind of look at him, great, he's the best one here. But then, even with that, if you look at any generalized tier list, if you were to make a tier list right now, a top 10 list, right, you would have Beast Gohan number 1, the 4s are Pan 2 or 3, you would have like Broly or Forku 4 or 5, and then you kind of go down the list at like the bottom, you would kind of see Ultra Gogeta or Vegito and barely see one of them. You might see Vegito barely make it off. You might see both barely make it on. It's like a 9 or 10 slot. So even if this unit is this phenomenal aging thing, he's the baseline. He's the best of the best that we're getting. So if I'm just kind of, honestly, disregarding Ultra Gogeta here, which I think is actually kind of valid because Beast Gohan disregards his existence anyways, I look at any other Ultra. Let's, for example, touch on Mr. Kaioken here, right? Oh, I should buy that alternate color. But nonetheless, Mr. Kaioken, he existed, and his only goodness was on boost. This unit was very good on boost. He was number 1 on boost. He jumped off boost. Guess who became number 1? Boom, Gogeta. And again, to go off that premise that these units are built off of Gogeta's already baseline goodness, and then just given flaws on top of his goodness, how does Gogeta work and get more staying time in power? Well, he destroys the enemy's hand with his blue card that he auto-spawns every new gauge, right? With Kaioken, how does he sustain in battle? Well, he has to do his combos, he has to do more. There's just more going on. You have to do more blasts, more strikes, more risk for cover situations that happen unless you pop main, which is what's safer? A green card that pops a cover null or a main that pops a cover null? The main ability is safer, but the green card, you're most likely going to be able to do that mid-sidestep and catch them in a safer manner. Given the main ability can't do this, but what if you miss? What's worse missing off? Your main into an ultimate, or your green card into a card, a strike, a blast? Another green, right? What's worse off? And even more so, Gogeta also has double ultimates, which is fucking crazy. Definitely, you know, a negative with no cut, but it's still fucking crazy because he's just ramping up damage with his gauge, right? With that next art's done. But nonetheless, Kaioken, he was number 1 with boost, and by the way, that's not... he was number 1 with boost, and I'm going to give this air quotes because he was number 1 because of the setup. I understand that sounds stupid, but let me explain. You ran Kaioken with a support of Vegeta, which Vegeta was very good individually. He was like top 5 probably, right? Super Saiyan Blue Green Vegeta when he Zenkai initially. Then you ran Vados, right? So it's kind of like the Beast and Pan and Puddle situation now. Obviously, Puddle and Pan being very good individual units is differential than Vados, but you ran a double support amp setup for Kaioken. He also was Zenkai buff on that setup, by the way. I think everyone was Zenkai buff on that setup. And then like HP bench is the third thing, right? So you ran an amp setup, and Kaioken's most glaring flaw was his damage, and it was hidden behind boost, behind double support. And then now, you see his banner, Evo, Rose, Gogeta Blue, Super Saiyan Blue Green Vegeta. How much value has he retained? And there's none. I mean, in all reality. Like, if you were to get USS buffs coming this part 2, sure, it would make sense. Like, he'll get value back. He definitely needs a team to make him get value back. It's not even his individual performance. That's really the worst thing. Definitely is lacking in damage. I can't say that confidently, but his individual performance is not the worst thing holding him back. It definitely is the units alongside him. But if that's not getting buffed, if God Key's not actually getting a buff for USS or whatever the hell else he wants to flow with, I would say it's probably God Key more than anything, or USS, right? Then he can't gain value. Gogeta lost value because his team got so buffed that he got replaced on that team. Kaioken doesn't have a buff to his team, even more so than that. And then we look at Vegito, and this is another character that was, I wouldn't say flawed with the boost system, but he was flawed with his team. Obviously, you ran Ultra Gogeta, you ran Vegito, you ran Vegito Blue, because Vegito Blue had just recently Zenkai. That was like a blue, yellow sub you could run. Maybe you would run a different third instead of Vegito Blue sometimes, but I would say Vegito Blue there was very nice because all those debuffs for the Ultra Vegito really worked out very nicely. Well, now you look at Ultra Vegito, bro can't extend a combo, bro can't do anything to Beast on the debuffs, and I'm obviously going to pull up his banner here just real quickly. Again, I'm just trying to help you guys understand the value of Ultras isn't as high as it was when they were first, well, revealed as Gogeta being the Ultra and how good he aged, right? I would say Gogeta retains a very good value, but he's not holding down the fort for everybody. Like, definitely not, at least for all these Ultras, especially with how ass their banners are, comparably to, like, what banner probably will come out next week, what banner just came out, what banner just came out prior to this. Like, all these recent banners have been very good that are not Ultras. Very much bang for your buck type banners. Ultras are not. Like, really. Vegito's banner. Ultra Vegito, Kid Buu, Majin Vegeta, very good option. Vegito Blue, very good option. The Edge of Zenkai, and Super Vegito. This is probably the best Ultra banner that we had. And the problem with it, I wouldn't say it's a glaring problem, but I would say it is a problem, is that Vegito Blue, as I said, you would probably run that blue-blue-yellow setup, but you also have a situation where there was really good green still out at this time. Like, Vegito wasn't just the god of the god and just ruling over everything. Like, obviously he was doing well, Vegito Blue, but, like, you had Dragon Fist on boost, you had Green Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta still trying to be run, you had greens that could snipe out and just beat the ever-living shit out of you, and also lock you in. Like, you had a lot of situations where things could go wrong, and even more so, there was actually support units like Tapion running around when Vegito Blue was running that blue-blue-yellow setup, and then Vegito Blue's not doing more damage against like Tapion or something like that, because it's support type, right? He's not getting strike damage inflicted. So Vegito Blue, as he is now, he was very consistent. It's just that Ultra Vegito's debuffs gave him that retainability good value, but nowadays, Beast is immune. This unit cancels debuffs. The new Merge Zamasu, you know, that unit debuffs per new combo taken, right? You would think that's very impactful. It's 30%. It's to all enemies. It's really good, like, on paper. There's, like, 6 out of maybe 7 of the top 10 units that can cancel debuffs on Will, whether it be just existing, and it's just in their kit on entry for, like, X amount of counts, or whether it be on green card, or on landing this, or on doing this. Everyone that's really good can just cancel a debuff like that Ultra Vegito is supplying. Especially, again, the main guy of Beast Gohan being that #1 guy. You would think, okay, we really need this here. You can't even combo extend versus Beast Gohan and Pan because Vegito doesn't get enough ki, doesn't have enough ki recovery, doesn't have enough card draw speed. It just, nothing really works. Again, this is an Ultra that was very, very good, very highly praised, but now with how fast power creep is, and this is the main dilemma of it all, Vegito, another Ultra, I would say, yeah, Ultras aren't worth it. I mean, his aging hasn't been this Gogeta vibe. It hasn't. It's not even close to it, right? You would say right now Gogeta is better than Vegito. Vegito is, what, 4 months old? 5? 5 months old? I mean, would you say that's necessarily great aging? I particularly wouldn't say that's particularly great aging, comparably to at least Gogeta, where he's still, you know, in this spot of, like, barely top 10, Vegito's not there. So that's 2 Ultras that I would say are worth it. And if you don't really count Vegito as, like, not worth it, you're, like, on the fence about him, fine. But Kaioken, 100% not worth it. Then we look at the last one here of Ultra DBZ Broly, and, bro, gonna pull up his banner once again, because I feel like it's important. Just on the side here, just touch on it real quickly, because I think the banner value actually does play an important role on how you decide to summon or not. I actually think this was okay. I don't think this was the worst, I don't think it was the greatest, but it was okay, because you had the substitute for this character. With Vegito's banner, you didn't have his substitute, right? Who the fuck's the substitute for Vegito if you don't pull Vegito? Nobody. Who's the substitute for Ultra Gogeta if you don't pull Ultra Gogeta? Nobody. Kaioken, who's the substitute? Evo, Gogeta Blue? Fucking nobody. Broly, you actually had a substitute. You had Broly, Revival Gohan, which is a substitute for Broly, right? Maybe not the best thing in the world, but he's probably the second best unit that would replace Broly on the same team as him, movies. CMZ, Kid Buu, Goten. Now I'm saying the rest of the banner was complete ass, and again, the banner value is very low from Ultras. Vegito's had the best value, and even now today, Vegito's probably still has best value, because MV's still pretty solid. VB, he's inconsistent, but name me a fucking green running around, right? It's just because that had, you know, good blue units, that's why the banner aches better. Obviously, with Revival Gohan, fucking Goten and Broly, there's Forku, there's Puddle, there's the 4s of Vegeta, right? Like, there's a lot of problems with that. Even going forward, CMZ, that's a problem. Kid Buu, I guess, okay, but, like, no fucking team, because he's mediocre. Broly himself isn't even that phenomenal. I would say he's the best Ultra right now, but that's in comparison to units that have been, okay, replaced, okay? Power crept out of the match of meta, and then easily out-damaged in every single scenario. So Broly, while he's holding this golden trophy here, like, it's like a shit-plated golden trophy. It's gold, it's there, he has it, but Broly isn't the most intimidating thing in the game. I can easily show you here, if we go to PvP, and this is a very good basis to judge things on, if I were to show any team or anything, Broly won't be seen. I can go through the entire top 30. I can most likely point out that there will be no Broly, there will be no Ultra in any of the top 30. In the main teams of PvP right now, I'm going to go through this all, by the way. In the main teams PvP now, you are running LF 1%, or 1% LF, right? With that being maybe 17, and then you ran like Pan, then you ran Beast, or you ran Beast, then you ran fucking... I can't even fucking think of the other characters because there's so many limitations. I mean, it was just more double LFs, actually. But double LFs with, like, Forku, Beast, Pan, Puddle. Again, we're going to go through every single top 30 here. I can pretty much say, though, you will not see Ultras. While, again, Broly is the best one right now. I think that's a very, very generalized statement that people would agree on. He's kind of like where Cell was when Cell was very good. Cell was always revered as this very good unit, you know, a couple months after his release of his Plat equip, but he just wasn't seen. I mean, you could understand his goodness, you could see his goodness, you could really value it, but he just wasn't very seen. I actually saw Broly right there, I'm very surprised. But this guy's run Broly since he's come out, to be fair. He's not, like, changed up his team ever, so that exists, yes, that's great, but actually running into one, I haven't ran into a Broly besides this guy in like top 100 PvP, top 50, whatever I am at usually, more than once in like 3 to 5 day span. And what I'm running into is LF, 1%, LF, LF, 1%, LF. I'm not running into anything else here. Again, we could simply go down. I'm surprised I found one. I'll be real. I'd be very shocked if we found two. But we're seeing this more trend than not that nobody is valuing these units. And I think it's kind of time where people understand that Ultras aren't the move. I mean, they're good, and they'll be good for their boost, and they'll be good... He got G4, okay. And they'll be good for a minute, like a good minute sometimes, but if everyone's baseline is what I'm saying, and you could kind of see that with how the rating you would put these units on is true, with Gogeta being the baseline Ultra, and then everyone else just being subpar to him, and again, you would see Gogeta as like the top Ultra as just an individual unit right now. Broly, yes, he's good right now because he has that defensive neutral. That's very good. But it's more because of the team synergy, and even more so, Broly doesn't really help you that much regardless. Like, Broly's good, but he doesn't help you that much. Again, you're not going to see a Broly in PvP very commonplace, and if you do, he's very easy to get around. And that's kind of a dilemma. If the Ultras are meant to be this game-breaking, power-breaking unit, why is it that the top 30 of PvP, I am running into one Ultra in this entire list? And even that, more so, again, that guy always runs Ultra Broly, right? That's not even something like, okay, I'm running it for this season because Broly gained more value, or he lost value. He did gain more value right now because he's a green unit, right? Primarily green unit running around. The more damaging aspect of the 4s running around. But yet, look at me scrolling through this as we speak through it. Okay. Thank you, Legends. Appreciate that. Can we work? As we speak through it, that Legends... One doesn't want me to connect. Great. And it's just... There's not enough bang for your buck, bro. I'm sorry. Oh, I found a Vegito. That's rare. This guy always runs Vegito, though. So again, these are not nuanced situations where it's like this unit gained value. I'm just trying to explain it to you guys because I know these people. At least most of them up here, right? Or I play against them a lot, so I just know what they always run. Majority of people switch their teams because what's meta and what's the best. And the Ultras do not make it. You know, fun fact, we've actually been looking, and we can all say Ultra Gogeta is probably the best aging Ultra, but yet, have I seen Ultra Gogeta yet? Have I? Because I know the answer is actually no. Oh, speak of the fucking devil. Wait. He just has it as his home screen. Alright, well, I rest my fucking case, honestly. But yeah, I think Ultras aren't worth it anymore. I don't think they've ever really been worth it for full effect, to be honest. Once we saw Kaioken and where he went down just after boost, and then that just kind of like really nosedived to shit. Respect for that team, Jesus Christ. He really nosedived to shit. I thought since then Ultras really weren't worth it for just most players. Obviously, if you're going to whale and spend money and all this bullshit, right? You know, spend your money, get your bank, do all your things. But if you're just casual player, normal player, just like the everyday average Joe, there is no incentive. The banners are not good. Vegito's banner, okay, while it's the best one, you can't even find a Vegito. I just found a Vegito. This person's been running Vegito since they came out. Like, it's not enough data to base off, okay, one Vegito's in top 30, so that means Vegito's really good right now. One Broly's in top 30, so that means Broly's really good right now. It's not enough. You see me scrolling through 30 tag 4s, 30 beasts, 18 beasts, 30 tag 4s, whatever the fuck. Yeah, you're probably understanding that unit's probably pretty good in comparison to the one time seeing the Ultras. And I just think people need to stop selling for Ultras. I hope when the Part 3 Ultra does come out, that they have a good banner to make this video irrelevant, because that'd be actually pretty good. But I don't foresee that. Ultra banners are meant to bait you with their main headliner unit being that real, like, carry for you to, well, care for the banner. And then you look at, like, other LF banners, and it's like, yes, the big LF is shiny, they're great, they're fucking top tier sometimes, but they're not really the carry of the banner, right? You see Forku here, you're like, okay, that's a reason. You see 17, that's a reason. That's like an off summon I could get, right? You see Bardock, that's a good reason. You see Jiren, that's a good reason. You see MUI, that's a good reason. You saw Puddle, you saw Beast, you saw Revhan, you saw Cell, you saw other good reasons to summon. With Ultra banners, there is no other good reason to summon. One, you can't pity. Two, no one else is good. I mean, in all reality, in comparison to the Ultra at least itself, nobody ever matches that Ultra's value, and then that Ultra itself ends up losing all that value, and then maybe those LFs, maybe MV is like a rare case, or VB as like a rare case, gain more value than that current Ultra. More, actually, Super Saiyan Blue Green Vegeta comparison to like Kaioken, right? Because Kaioken just fucking nosedived down the fucking hill. I would just say Ultra banners are not worth it. Ultras are not worth summoning for anymore. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys in the next one.